Hey everyone, welcome to Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. If you're looking at this bald head and this beard, it must be Monday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific. Dang it, Joe, I forgot what it was out in Hawaii. I think you're at 2 or 3. You're 6 a.m. over in Indonesia, and you're about 15 to 17 hours ahead of us over in Australia. So welcome, everybody. If you've seen the show, you know that's my site right there, Stuff I Never Learned from a Schoolbook. You're used to the face. You know what's about to happen. If you don't, welcome to the show for the first time. My name's Tom Springer, and I'm your host. And what I do is I bring on people that can go ahead and talk about pretty much anything they want. We deal a lot with paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, a little bit of odds and ends, life healing, life coaching, all that good stuff. Derek, if you can't hear me, I apologize. There must be something on your end because I know that others can hear me right now. I am not muted, so check what you're doing really quick if you wouldn't mind. But other than that, I do have a guest on tonight, so you're not just going to hear me rant and rave like we sometimes do. I'm going to go ahead and bring her in, and her name is Kandi Slater. So, hi, Kandi. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. I'm just doing, like I said, my ranting and raving stuff. So, so I have Derek saying he can't hear me right now. Derek, brother, I got people who are saying they can hear me, so I think it's on your end. If you can try to get that taken care of. Here, let me do this really quick. Go ahead and talk. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Miss Kandi Slater. Hi, everybody. This is Kandi Slater. Guess what? I went out and found her, hunted her down, and liked what she had to say, and I was impressed by her Facebook page, and did all that stalking stuff I normally do, and I stole her for my show. So here she is. There's Kandi.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have you here.
In the middle of a snowstorm, right?
Right? You're having snow too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just typing out to. She's already got it taken care of. Sorry. I was going to tell Derek that everyone can hear. I'm talking and he can't hear me, so it makes a lot of sense for me to tell him, "Hey, Derek, everyone can hear me if he can't hear me."
It's okay. My husband, he probably don't want to hear me anyway.
Oh, that's who that is. I didn't even pay attention to the last name.
Yeah.
So, well, Derek.
Hey, Stacy.
So so we have all kinds of people. Miss Jamie, hello. Like I said, this is going to be people walking in here. This is my wife saying hello to you right here.
Hi.
Mr. Stewart down from Texas. Stewart Gessman is down from Texas saying hi. Carly, you must. Hi, Carly.
She's new. She's one of my all-out paranormal teammates.
Carly and I are actually friends on Facebook.
Awesome. She's a great lady too. She'd be a good one to have on.
Yeah, I think I have plans to talk to her. I'm just trying to get through the holidays right now. Jamie does not agree with the snow. She's like, yuck on the snow. We're getting it too.
I agree.
We're supposed to get anywhere from 1 to 3 inches today, and then for a couple more days, another 1 to 3 inches each one of those days. So we're going to get anywhere from some snow to a lot of snow. So
we're in the same. Depending on which station you look at, it says anywhere from 3 inches to over a foot. It's like,
yeah, that's kind of what they're looking at for the week for us. So,
but it's December. What can we expect, right?
Right, but I don't like the snow.
I don't either, but I'll take it over hurricanes, earthquakes.
You just don't understand how much snow affects my golf game. I mean, it's really, really hard to golf out in the snow.
Vacation in Florida?
Well, that would require us to not be working. And my wife's a teacher, and I work for the government, so I can get away, but she really
harder for her. Yep.
Yep. So I will tell you right now, this person I'm bringing up right here, we call her Mary, just so you know. So hi, Mary. Because that name, that's way too many vowels. So. And Jamie's telling us that she may not supposed to get that junk in the South, but they might. I'm going to go ahead and roll into the show as everyone comes in and kind of says hi and chats and all that wonderful stuff. So, Kandi, you know what's coming because I told you the only question I ever ask my audience members is how did you get started? What brought you into this arena? When did you decide to start doing this? All those wonderful questions about how did you start?
Well, I actually started fairly new, believe it or not, about 2019, between 2018 and 2019.
Okay.
I met and married Derek, and I didn't know it at the time that he was a medium. He wanted to go do this paranormal investigating, and I would literally laugh at him. I would tell him it's hocus pocus. I wasn't going to waste my time with it. So our first year of marriage, I did everything you could possibly imagine that he wouldn't want to do. I mean, we were going to concerts. I drug him to concerts no man should have to go to, like boy band review, right?
Oh, geez.
So yeah, I did that to him, and we get to the fall, and he says, "Just one location. Come with me once, see what you think." I said, "Fine, I'll go once, but you better make it a good one." He takes me to the outside of Edinburgh Manor. We couldn't get in because it was obviously locked up, but just walking around it, I'm taking pictures, and pictures that I didn't take were on my phone. I'm like, I know I didn't physically turn around and take these. I said, let's go back at night. Let's just see what happens at night. Cause I, not knowing, spirits come out during the day too, believe it or not. Right.
Yep.
So I'm thinking it's only at night. We go back at night and we're walking around the building, and my hair starts like literally coming up in the air. I'm swatting thinking it's a bug. He's laughing at me. It goes to the other side. I'm swatting. He goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "There are bugs out here. Let's go. I don't want to get bit." Get in the car, and it's still happening. And we're driving away, and he's laughing at me. I'm like, we got to get back in this building. So we booked one of those $10 tours that they do, on Sunday. They take you through. They tell you the history. Earrings are getting flipped around. I'm getting touched and grabbed. And eventually it led to an overnight there where I was choked, held down in a bed, and it turned out they said that I looked like a nurse that was murdered and raped.
Oh.
There. So I guess kind of like they were trying to reenact it.
Right.
So from there I got hooked, and we were doing all sorts of paranormal things.
Oh, hold on. Time out.
Yeah.
You got hooked because you got choked, or like they were playing with your hair and playing with your earrings, and it reminded them of someone that got choked and murdered. And that's how you got hooked. Because of something that happened like that with the negatives. Okay.
Well, it was an experience. How many people go in and say, I want an experience, and sit there and get nothing.
I just want to get my facts straight. That's all I was looking for. So.
Yeah. I had no idea. And at this point, I still didn't know Derek was a medium. So he's seeing this stuff, right? And another medium that was with us, hi, Shannon, was like, let me just show you what I'm seeing. Because I didn't understand the medium part at that time. Because, I'm just fresh off of hocus pocus.
Right.
He's like, let me show you what I see. So he came over and he held me down in the bed exactly how I felt I was being held. He's like, this is what I saw happening to you. And I was like, oh, wow. So we went on all sorts of different investigations and got up with one of the teams I was working with. And I saw someone doing Reiki. Now, at that time, I still didn't know what Reiki was. I'd heard of it, but never done it. And I had just learned Derek was a medium, and I watched what she could do for him when he would get drained or something like that. I'm like, I need to learn how to do that because I need to be able to do that for him. So yeah, which led into all the metaphysical side.
Yeah, and you do a lot on that side.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you do. That's really interesting. And I want to just share your problem child friend. She's saying that she would stay and like it if her hair got pulled. So
yeah. See, if she would have been there with me at the time, she would have been like, "Move over, girl. I'm getting in with you."
That's awesome. So, your husband.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I know is there's my neighbor across the street, Mo. She was going to tune in. This is her first time watching, so she just learned a couple days ago that I actually do this show, so she was going to tune in to say hi. So yep, she's coming into the show. But you learned that your husband was a medium, and you learned all this other wonderful stuff, and you were like, all right, I can't imagine how that was because Nikki and I were together for for quite a few years before I had my awakening, and she was there for it. So it's very interesting to hear that side of the story, that you married into it, or that you were with him, and then realizing, hey, he has these abilities. And was there anything during that time frame before you guys went to Edinburgh that just seemed to go off, and you were like, I'm just going to ignore that? Or
No, because I honestly thought it was hocus pocus. Like, I thought people made this stuff up, like wishful thinking. Oh yeah, things move on their own. Okay, keep smoking what you're smoking. I didn't believe in it, and he didn't tell me. All he would do is say he liked the paranormal. He liked to investigate. He didn't say he was a medium because too many people, including members of his family, thought he was nuts. And he was afraid if I found out, especially me calling it hocus pocus, I would say the same thing. So,
and I can understand that. It was interesting because as we talked offline, that mine is very new, and that introducing that to Nikki's family, who does not believe in any way, shape, or form, was a little interesting to introduce that to the family, saying, hey, by the way, even though Tom and I have been together since 2010, all of a sudden he has these abilities that we never told you about because he just started developing them. So I can understand the family conversation and the family dynamic on that.
Oh, my mom loves it. She thinks it's the greatest thing. They had some old pictures from back in the early 1900s that had my grandpa in them. And she was talking, well, Derek does the psychometry thing too. So he's holding the picture and talking to my grandpa. Well, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. She's getting all of this put together. And this is before Derek would have even, known too much about my grandpa, because he was deceased before we ever met. My dad, he was like me, didn't believe it at all. Derek starts, one day he's sitting in the living room and he says to my dad, did you ever have a dog that looked like this? And starts describing my dad's like favorite dog he's ever had. Like, my dad loved this dog.
Right.
And he's like, well, yeah, why? Well, she's sitting there right now and she's got her head resting just like this on the couch. And this is the way she's looking at you. And my dad just about started crying. He's like, that's Gypsy, and that's what she used to do.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes that little bit of knowledge to convince people that what you're doing is true. So that's a good introduction to him. So I may actually steal him later too if he's willing to come on the show.
I'm sure he would be.
But you have some very unique abilities, qualities, learnings that I have people who are interested in asking questions about. So, there's a Zhang. See, I told you she'd be on here. Hi, Zhang. How are you? Hi. Yes, Zhang. Once again, I talked about you in the backstage because I told them how awesome it is that you come and visit us from Indonesia. So, hello. Oh yeah. So see, there it is right there. Kandi, I have lots of questions. You are certified in quite a few things I don't know much about. Yes, and I'll actually start with the first question because I actually took the time to kind of sit down and kind of work this out. One of the ones that I was kind of interested in was you doing energy healing with color and art.
Mm-hmm.
How?
Color, like for example, if you imagine ice blue, okay, so you're sending your Reiki energy, and ice blue is known for taking away pain, like icing the pain.
Right.
So as you're sending your energy, you visualize that color going into that energy.
Okay.
And it has worked quite a few times. I've had to do it recently when my dad broke his wrists and arms, and yeah, I purposely didn't tell him when I was doing it. And my mom she'd call me and say, you just did that again, didn't you? I said, yeah. He says it's starting to feel better again.
Yeah.
Different colors for different things. You got your red for grounding, green with your heart chakra work.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Jamie's saying color therapy-ish.
Yes, very color therapy. Yeah.
And can you, when you're working that, can you see the colors that the person is emanating to try to balance that?
Sometimes,
Okay.
a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed that you're sitting in front of a chakra behind you,
Yep.
but your main coloring seems to be a blue, which is, to me, is a very calming color. That's what I know it as. Is a very calming color. So, but I did notice that behind you. So that was very cool. I have to see what she's saying. Oh, Jamie just had her. Yeah, that's. So just a fair warning to you, I did not explain to you this beforehand, but I have a tendency to break electronics for people. So just so you're aware, like even my wife is saying it froze for her too. So just so you know, sometimes we'll get comments like this on the side, or way over there on that side.
So you froze again.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, that's me. I have a tendency to break stuff. I apologize if that's the case, if people are seeing me and I'm in and out, but you can keep right on talking. So that was me. I mean, that was mine. And I know that, like I said, I know Jamie and Nikki both had questions on cue, like she's in my head. What about crystal healing? How do you get certified? Is it like Reiki?
Very similar to Reiki. I had a couple different classes. Natural healer, Melissa Crowhurst. I learned a lot of my crystal knowledge from her. That gets into the structures, the more scientific end. And then a lot of my certifications came through Sage Goddess, Dr. Athena Parakis. You are doing 3 hours a day every Wednesday with her live, and yeah, you're learning how to use the actual crystals, the different tools to do things like Vogels, that you actually use a certain motion, and like I could visualize you laying here, and if I can scan and know your solar plexus chakra needs work, you use the crystals that are associated with that. You can lay them out and then use the different extractors, and you're actually extracting the energy. Or there's different key-like tools that if you turn them clockwise, it tightens the chakra up, or you can loosen it if it's
Very cool. Yeah. I had someone send me a message. I want to ask if this is something you're able to do with that, since we're talking about the crystal healing right now. Someone talked to me a while ago, sent me a message saying that someone had a brown recluse spider bite. And I'm trying to remember what crystal they said they used, but they actually put the crystal on it and did a healing to it. And the doctor was afraid that it was going to end up with some kind of necrotizing fasciitis and start eating away the skin. But 2 days later, it had healed because of the crystal work that they had done on the spider bite itself.
Maybe like bloodstone?
I don't remember. I'd have to hunt it down. But I'd have to hunt down.
That'd be interesting if you find it. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find. I'm pretty sure I have it in my messages, because I keep all my messages. But there's way too many to go through right now. But yeah, I'll be sure to share that with you.
That would be awesome.
Once I find that out. Joe is saying that's like how I did for my sister and the pendulum when she was in Houston.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Jamie, I skipped one. I don't know what she's trying to spell here. A Vogel?
She wants a Vogel. Yeah.
Okay. What's a Vogel?
Give me 10 seconds here.
Because I'm going to ask.
So, like this one is an example of one. This you can do when you're doing work with the moons. It's made of organite, and it's got this one has labradite, moonstone, 2 labradites on it. I also have one that has sunstone, bronzite, and obsidian. So as you're using them, you're kind of taking, you're visualizing, and you're coming in, you're taking the negative energy, And you always have to have, like, it could be depending on what you feel at the time. It could be a glass of water. It could be ground, like a flower pot with dirt.
Right.
You got to have a place to put that energy,
Right.
but you're actually extracting it, and you're just using a little tool like that.
Very cool. I have never heard of that. That's pretty awesome. Kyle is asking, do you have a practice or a place?
Not outside of the home right now. Right now, I do a lot of it in what I call my Zen room. Yeah, do it remotely.
So can they reach out to you online?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do me a favor then, because I want to post this right now. Give me an email or give me a website address that I can send out there to the world.
I don't have a website yet.
How do they
you
get
can reach out to me on Facebook.
Okay. Well, hold on. I got that one. Give me 1 second, and I will grab that for everybody so I can post that because I just had you out here. Control C. Yeah, I'm kind of multitasking, so there's your Facebook stuff right there. I just posted it into the comments. So people, if you want to get a hold of her for some remote healing and you want to reach out to Kandi, there you go. That's where you can reach that right there. So I was actually looking when you and I were talking beforehand the show, and I was trying to find some information on you. I was trying to see if you had a site I can add, but if you're going to say I can use the Facebook, I'll throw it right out here. So we'll just do it that way. So
perfect. Yeah, no website of my own yet.
Got to work on that. I'll help you get that. I'll help you get that one out. What about the? I have so many written down. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but the hand mudras, is that right?
Mudras, yeah. Like you're grounding the different hands, how depending on how you position your hands. Just simple putting your thumbs and your fingers together and having them at your sides or down at your solar plexus chakra.
So what is that? So what does that do though? Is it cleansing? Is it clearing? Is it pushing energy? Is it healing?
A lot of it I've found to be calming.
Okay.
Like, you get really worked up and you got to ground. I always put them, down like that and down right at your sides, right where your root chakra would be, and breathe.
Yeah.
Usually I don't use those too much on other people. I use them myself, but I have taught different people, right, to use some of those.
Yeah. And that's what I was curious about because this is stuff I've never heard of. So I'm asking specifics because I want to know. And I'm assuming by some of the comments I had before the show right now, that a lot of people don't know about this. So, so I'm trying to make sure that you're able to share the lowest common level of information so we all can understand it. Just so you know what we're looking at.
There's certain best way to describe it is hand positions in certain places.
Okay. And it's more for calming? That's what you're saying? Calming
or working with chakra. Like if you feel on your own that maybe your solar plexus is out of line, it's kind of, I'm having trouble right now, but kind of almost like you're holding a baby.
Oh, okay.
But and holding it down at your solar plexus area and breathing, and it can help you if they're not way out of line. It works with your chakras as well.
Oh, mine are so far out of line, it's ridiculous. Mine probably look like an S. So I'm terrible about doing stuff I'm supposed to do. My audience will tell you. Jamie's saying, my teacher posts a new one in our Reiki group every day. She has a deck of cards I need because I can't remember them. True. That's probably what I ended up doing too, because I am terrible about remembering stuff. So when you teach them, when you teach others, is it something that is like a scheduled, I'm just in case anyone reaches out to ask for your help, is it something you schedule for like a weekly type of thing, or is it something that's just a one time, one and done? Or
at this point it's pretty much done. Like say you and I are in a room, kind of like you talked about the hug thing, and you notice somebody needs it.
Right.
It's kind of that one-on-one, hey, just trust me for a second. Try doing this and tell me how you feel.
Okay.
And you get that weird look, and all of a sudden it's, oh my God, I feel better. What did you do? I didn't do anything. You did it yourself. And then
Right.
they ask some questions, and I give them other ones that might help them if they let me, scan their chakras type thing.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's like I said, you kind of do a lot of different things. I'm just going to go down the list and ask questions because you have so many of them. The real manifesting practitioner. What is, like I said, again, me not knowing nothing.
Manifesting.
Yes.
Got part of that through Soul Shift, which is one of them that you'll have coming up. She threw that in for us, manifesting, and through Melissa Crowhurst as well, but manifesting, helping you get what you want in a good way. Like, right now, one I'm working on is a friend ordered a couple rings, and they had her dad's cremains in them, and they were supposedly delivered last week, and they haven't shown up yet. She reached out to me today. So tonight when we're done, I'm going to work on doing that. You're throwing the vibes out, things that align. You can use some herbs or oils, burn some candles.
And you can really try to manifest anything that you put your mind to.
Yeah.
Whether
I just
it be,
don't try to do it for myself, because then it can come back. You asking too much. You need to be doing it for others, not for yourself.
Right. But I mean, it's if it doesn't have to be a physical thing. It can be an emotional, mental. It can kind of be anything for her. So Jamie's there with you. She says sending good vibes in her mailbox tomorrow. So
I agree, Jamie. It's going to be there tomorrow.
I told you, I sorry, Jamie, I'm calling you out, but I did tell Kandi that you would be one of the talkers on my show. I know everyone's so shocked that Jamie Whitaker is a talker on my show. So, all right. The space clearing Reiki. I only know, I'm going to tell you, I'm very novice when it comes to Reiki or anything else. The only one I know is the one that I go to, and I've only been to her, I think, once or twice, and she just does a fire Reiki, and I just lay down on the table, and she just kind of works me over a bit. Best way to say it. That's really the only one I know. So when I'm going through these, I don't know what they are. So that's why I'm so curious about asking you what they're for, because I just don't know. So the space clearing Reiki, what's that doing?
More just like clearing a body, but you can use it using the energy. And I like to tie the elementals in with that, calling in the different elementals to cleanse your space. Like when I do work in my room here on somebody, I usually do that as soon as I'm done to make sure the energy in this room is left good. I never want, for lack of better words, and dare I say it, I don't want funk left in the room, because you know what happens.
Right. Hi, Deb. How do the elementals play into that when you call them in? Because I know elementals on one side, but I mean, I don't know how you would use elementals in clearing an area.
You got your window open, you're asking the air to help take any negativity away, and the earth to ground it.
Okay.
Not so much usually water, air. You can use fire if I'm burning a candle or something, but usually when it's that, I use the air and ground,
Okay.
Take it out and ground it, cleanse the energy.
That makes sense to me then. Like we said, we've talked about, there she is, and the elementals, totally nerding out here. Because as we talked earlier, we both kind of do the elemental thing. Mine's just a little different since they seem to show up like people do.
I wish I had that. Didn't even realize I had gotten some of the certification for the elemental healer, which is using, I'm using those like with the different, I incorporate them into the Reiki and that type of thing. And all of a sudden, Catherine Cirillos, who you had on before.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, she, when she was in the States here, we actually, God, I'm going to give away something I shouldn't, but we went out to a location outdoors, and I had traced my, I don't want to say lineage, but, back to being in Atlantis.
Right.
Now, I did not know that in Atlantis they worked with the elementals. I didn't
Right.
know all this at this point. And we're out at this location outdoors on a swinging bridge. And Catherine's talking about seeing elementals. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And the next thing you know, we get in the car. I was bringing elementals home with me, according to Catherine, and she says they recognized me and were saying, "Hey, we recognize you. We recognize you. Come work with us again. Work with us again." They're with me in the car. My husband and Catherine are in the front seat, and I'm in the back. I'm just laughing uncontrollably. Like I could not stop laughing. She's like, Derek, the fairies got her. We got to pull over. They had to pull over and cleanse with me. And Catherine's like, okay,
Oh,
girl, we need to have a talk. So she has actually been mentoring me and working with them even more.
oh.
And yeah, you've talked to her. She's
I talked
phenomenal to be able to work with her.
Yeah, I talked to her, and she when we had the elemental talk, she was like, "Wait, you do what?" And so she was kind of like, "That's a little extreme," and I was like, "I'm sorry, but that's all I know." So she was like, "That's kind of
Yeah.
awesome, but it's very different." Joe is asking, "How does elemental blessings fare against negative oppressive entities?"
Depends on what exactly it is you're working against. If you got something that's negative or oppressive, you got to find out exactly what you're working. I'm explaining it wrong. I'm not used to talking about. I just know how to do it. You got to find out what you're working with, so that you can counteract it, for lack of better words. If you're working with something negative that's fueled by fire, you don't want to go throwing more fire at it. You're
Right.
going to make it worse.
Yep. Yeah, and I can also help with this question a little bit since I work with them as well. So Joe, to answer that question, for me, mine's a little different. Sorry, but it is. They will actually tell me whether they can help or not, and they will tell me what they can do against it, regardless of what it is. And like you said, it really does depend on what you're facing. If it's just a like a spirit or something along those lines, it's a little different. They don't really work in that realm. But if it's more along the lines of where it's going to start affecting the elements or start affecting the environment, then they can step in right there and do what they need to, and they will decide amongst themselves pretty rapidly who's going to do what to help take care of that area. So that's really what it comes down to. There's a lot of stuff that they're going to that they can do outside of what we talk about. There's a lot of stuff. Let me try to explain that better. There's a lot of stuff that elementals can do that we don't talk about, such as when normally we talk about, well, the earth heals the ground, or the earth elementals heal the ground. They're good for grounding, and the wind elementals take care of the wind and the air and everything else, and the fire cleanses, and the water grows, and it does all. They do so much more than that as well. I always tell people that you really have to think about the elementals along the same lines as you would the old style Titans, but in a indigenous person type of style. They're that powerful, they're that strong, that they have so many different abilities besides what we just talk about. So hope that helps a little bit.
And I'm always finding more and more that they can do, aren't you?
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, and Jamie's saying, didn't know there was a connection with Atlantis. I was there as well, so that makes sense. And Jamie's telling me she believes I was also Atlantean, so that would make a lot of sense, especially for me, as connected as I am with them. And Joe is saying, yeah, like if you're calling the elementals to help, where did you do that? To kick their butt is what he used for the terming. So yeah. Well, hello, how are you? This is actually, so everyone can see her, that she's the Boss Continuum, but if you recognize the picture at all, she is the one whose show I'm actually going to be on tomorrow night. So, trying to see what else we got going. Oh, so she's saying hello to you.
Hi.
Do I classify elementals as fae? Now, That's you. Do you want to speak to that one, or do you want me to speak to that one? Oops.
We both probably can. I associate the Fae more with air,
Right.
but not all. I don't associate all of them as.
So here's my Jamie. This I don't know how you're gonna take this, Jamie, because you're such a Fae fan. I'm curious about how you feel about this, but I actually see the elementals, and then I kind of see the Fae as an underling to elementals. Okay. They're their own entities, but they kind of fall under them. I don't want to say they're a less. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is they're kind of like a lesser than the elementals are, but they are their own entity. But I think they fall along the same lines. Just like when I talk about the elemental, the earth elementals, then I talk about the mound people being basically a bridge between the elementals and then the indigenous person. You have the mound people in the middle. I believe that's the same way with the elementals. There's the elementals that are much older, have been around much longer, and then there's the Fae who came after them, and then there's whatever came after the Fae that is now causing problems with some stuff. So, yes, good call. It's a symbiotic relationship. Thank you, Joe. Those big words that you're throwing out here today. And Jamie's saying maybe so they feel the same sometimes, like family, but not the same really. Right. It's like a distant cousin. Is probably a good way to put it. I think they fall along the same lines, but just their DNA branches off somewhere. So, man, that went a long way just when we went to space clearing. So, see what you did? I did that one. You do the chakra energy healing, and I believe that's the one I know. I believe that's just you.
You know that one, yeah.
I do have a question with that. I asked somebody else, but I'm looking for a more in-depth answer. I see your question. Hold on a second. When you're working, I always hear that your chakras are blocked. Like your chakra could be blocked, and you have to unblock it in order to let it flow and to right itself, basically. How do you go about unblocking a chakra that's blocked or out of alignment? How do you put them back in alignment? What is it? Just meditation? Do you have to go see a Reiki master? Is there? Okay.
This is my best friend here. I extract the blockage.
Okay.
So it's like the energy blockage. So it's kind of the way I was described. They're like the wheels, and so it's blocked. It won't move. That's why I use the Vogels. I love them. They're one of my best friends when it comes to energy and chakra alignments, all that, because I'm extracting that negativity or whatever it is that's blocking that chakra, pulling it out and disposing of it back to Gaia to, cleanse that away. And once that's all cleared out, it gets back to rotating again the way it should.
Oh, Shannon's saying night-night.
Night-night, Shannon. She's the one, God, if you guys can all send her some good vibes, she's the one whose rings are lost.
Oh, okay. Yep. We got that going already.
Yeah.
How do I is there anything simple that a simpleton like myself can do to kind of straighten my S-curve of my chakras and kind of put them back into alignment?
Do you ever use your pendulum?
No.
You can literally lay back a quick, easy one to figure out which one of your chakras are out of line. You can actually lay back, get in a meditative state, knowing which your yes and no is on your pendulum. Hold it over, like as you're laying back over the chakra. Is my heart chakra out of line? And it'll tell you yes or no. And then kind of you can use crystals or focus on bringing white light in and asking it to take the blockage away.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious so that means I have to work with my pendulum. I actually have one. I just don't work with it very much.
Apparently, I like Nicole. She tells it like it is. No, you never use it.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, she will call me out. I will tell you, she will call me out. Um, so Nona Boss, the one that's here, her name is Marty. She's asking, are there any different types of fae? And you can answer this one.
I'm stuck on this one
Oh,
because
okay.
I'm still learning it. I'm not that great with. That's one I need more help with is the Fae.
Well, I will tell you that we have a person here who is fantastic in the Fae world, and that will be Jamie. But I believe I have actually seen different versions of different types of Fae. Um, and the weird part is, I don't see them like I believe like Jamie does. I actually see them when I walk, and they're always in my mind's eye. They're just seem to be there to where they're just like, and I can see them like when I'm looking, and they're popping into that location, but they're doing it in my mind, and I can see there's oh yeah, see, Jamie's saying yes, and Debbie's saying many different types. She has a book on the different types. So yes.
Describe what they look like though, because I've heard they look like little Tinkerbells to I heard they look like little vicious things with fangs and nasty. It's like, what do they look like?
And that's the realm. So just know that it's funny because if I talk to certain people, they will say that Fae are good. Some will say Fae are bad, and they're tricksters, and they are mischievous and everything else. Guess what? All that is correct. That they run the whole gambit. They kind of have, with them being different types. There's so many different types of Fae. They all have their own different personalities or traits that they each have as well. So
my next line is steady. I need to talk to Jamie. So it's kind of like people, basically, how we're all different. They're different too.
Yes, exactly. Like I said, they kind of. Now, my question concerning this is, I don't want to be very stereotypical, but I'm going to have to be kind of. Do Fae end up being the way they are sometimes because of the Fae nation they grow up in, the Fae neighborhood they grow up in, or are they just brought in evil or good? So that's what I want to know.
We need to have a Fae class.
Right. We do.
Or a Zoom meeting about the Fae. There we go.
Jamie's saying some are like earth, some like trees, air, some look like bugs, but they all look different. So they all have free will. That's what Jamie's doing right now. So see, I'm telling you, I ask you one simple question about something, and we go on these tangents, which is fantastic. Oh no, we have the best squirrel moments on my show. Let me tell you. So it's just great. But yeah, so it's really interesting that the question about the Fae would come up during this time, because I don't know if Jamie, I guess we're turning to you for this one again, unless you know, do Fae and Reiki have any ties together? Because they kind of have their own little specialties and energies and everything else too, just like Reiki does when you're doing Reiki on somebody. Do Faes have the same kind of quirk or trait that kind of helps or hinders people?
I'd like to see what Jamie says. I'm thinking they would, but
Jamie's typing right now, I can tell. But first she has to tell us we're all a bunch of nuts. So yes, we know this.
That's good though.
That's good. Well, while she's typing, let me ask you this question, because I have another one here. You do a crystal energy healing. Now, I kind of know what that one is. I'm assuming I know what that one is, because I have a tendency to do that with crystals as well. I can charge and clear crystals just by holding them, and I can give them intention to give them to somebody to where it's used for the intent that they need it for. Is that kind of along the same ways?
right along the same ways. I incorporate a lot of crystals into my Reiki, but I'd say 9 out of 10 times, unless I'm doing something remote, like
Mm-hmm.
where I'm out and about and someone needs it, I'm always incorporating crystals into it. But like you said, it's funny because I'm going to use Catherine again just because I know she won't get upset with me.
Right.
We were going one night we were going down to see her, and I turned around. I said to Derek, I said, just wait a minute. I got to go back inside. I got to grab this crystal. Ran up to my tray because I got this. It's like a bamboo tray, probably about 1.5 feet by a foot wide,
Right.
all full of tumbled crystals. And I went up and I'm hunting for this crystal. I grab it and I get in the car. And he says, "What were you doing?" I said, "I don't know why, but I have to have this crystal with me today." And we were with Catherine in a crowded group of people, and she was having a panic attack. Give her the crystals. Hold on to this one. Let me do my thing. Called in the elementals, and she's like, "You just called them in, didn't you?" She goes, "You practiced what I taught you." I said, "Yeah." And that crystal, then she ended up taking it back to Greece with her.
Oh yeah.
Because yeah, it got we tuned it into her energy, and yeah, now she carries it around with her, and we got some similar ones for her daughters, and
Very nice.
intended them the same way.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump back really quick to the Fae stuff because we have comments coming in. So Stuart is saying he was once told that the tooth that I think it's supposed to be Danann of Ireland got tired of this plane. They went under the hill and became the Fae. And Stuart and Jamie saying yes. Bridget's day is coming soon. She is the Tuta de Danann. So, so I believe that's what it is. So yeah. So they're talking more about the Fae, where they came from, Ireland.
Okay.
Which is interesting as well. I wasn't quite sure where it was. But going back to your talking about the crystals, I have a tendency to do that. I don't wear crystals to protect me or to heal me or do anything else, because I am too stupid and confident in my own abilities, that I don't think I need them. But I will always grab them. Every once in a while, I don't know why. If I'm going to work or something, I'll grab a handful of them and put them in my pocket. And while I'm there, sure enough, someone's like, "Man, this is going on," or "This is going on." I'm like, "Hold on a second." I'll take one out of my pocket and I'll give it an intent, and I'll say, "All right, hold this for about a half an hour, and I'll come back and see how you're doing." And sure enough, I'll go back and like, "What was that? How did you do that? I was so
How did
anxious."
you do that?
Right.
Yeah.
And they were always like, how did you? And I'm like, "Yeah, you were anxious. I can tell you were having issues with this. So I gave it an intent. I handed it to you. I wanted it to be a calming stone for you. Maybe it was an amethyst I grabbed that day or whatever else." And sure enough, they'll come back and they'll be like, "Wow, that was amazing." And if it worked for them, I would say about 99% of the time, for some reason, it seems to work for them, that I end up saying, "Well, this crystal must belong to you then. It's not mine." And I do the same thing, because otherwise, why would it just be laying around my house? It must be laying around my house with an intent to give it to somebody else.
I was taught that, because I'd go into a crystal store and I'd be like, "I need this, 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 and this," and it's like they don't even relate to anything of why I would need to work with those crystals.
Right.
And yeah, all of a sudden I was meant to get this. I was in the place to get this crystal because this crystal needed to get to you at this time. And
yep, and I do it all the time.
Me too. Yeah.
It's so random how often it happens. Hi, Gwendolyn. How are you? Gwendolyn was actually my last guest on my show last week, so she's popping in to say hi. Jamie, you're being asked a question. Jamie, by Derek. He's saying, "Jamie, are you able to teach shamanism?" If you say yes to this, and I don't know this, you and I are going to have a talk, Jamie. Oops. Let me see. She says, "I'm not sure. I've never even thought about it." So, and
time to think about it.
Right? And there's some talk further back here where Jamie is saying, "I think that is something learned in Lemuria." And Stuart is following up saying, "Been told I am from Lemuria." So you guys always come up with these words that make me have to kind of pay attention and pronounce correctly. Vicky, what do you do as well? She says, "I do as well." Vicky, what do you do as well? Are you talking about the stones? that you can charge the stones and give them out to others and kind of be like, yep, this one's supposed to be yours. So that's what we're doing.
Don't you love the look on people's face when you give them a crystal and they look at it like, yeah, what am I supposed to do with this? And then when they realized it worked, they're like, wow.
Right. So I'm going to share a quick story with you that happened. I had a friend of mine who she sits with people who are about to pass that night in hospitals, whatever else, and they're by themselves, so they're not alone. And so she will sit with them until they pass. And she has horrible health. She used to be just healthy as can be, but she started to develop lupus. And she did not know that she was an empath, and she was taking in all the negative, all the bad, and holding it. This is what was making her sick.
Mm-hmm.
She just realized what I did, and she came over and talked to me. And the next day I came in, I brought a bracelet with me. No idea where I got the bracelet from, nothing else. Just had it. And I gave it to her, and I go, wear this. I go, when is your next time? She goes, tonight. I have to work with someone tonight. I go, wear this all night long. Don't take it off. Come in the morning and tell me how you feel. She said, okay. She came in the next morning. She goes, what did you do? I'm like, I have to ask, what do you mean, what did I do? And she said, I was there all night long. I did everything I normally do. I made the person feel comfortable. I talked to them. I kept them very comfortable and made sure their pillows were right. I made sure they were covered so they were warm. And she goes, and normally when I'm doing all this, there's such a drain that by the end of the night, I'm exhausted. She said, I felt like a robot. I went through all the motions I normally do, but I had no emotional drain whatsoever. She was like, went to bed last night, got up this morning. I was perfectly fine. What did you do? So I explained to her what I did. And I told her that the bracelet belonged to her. And I told her how to cleanse it, how to charge it, how to use it. And she's been using it ever since. And
Awesome.
Most recently, I was finding out that her lupus is clearing up because she's not taking in all that negative energy.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, so that was something I was pretty proud of, that was able to help. And she had no clue what was going on, but now we kind of figured it out. So that's good. So I'm kind of reading back to the comments as we were talking. Vicky's saying, yes, she picks the crystal she feels at the time, give them. She also does readings as well. That is fantastic, Vicky. You and I have to talk later. And Derek is saying that he is interested in doing it as a mentor. He was wanting to learn. He says underpassed. I think that might be a type.
Yeah. He was.
I got it. He sent another one. The mentor I was wanting to learn under had passed away. Would you consider teaching? So look, we have a whole side conversation on that I'm sharing with everybody. She says, Derek Slater, I learned under Sandra Ingerman, officially blended with what I was already doing. And this is interesting to me, folks, that you're talking about this on the side, because I have been repeatedly told that I am supposed to be working towards doing shamanism, and I'm just looking for an instructor or a mentor. But apparently I need to find someone else who also can deal with my energy, because everyone we've talked to who has attempted to mentor me has been like, your energy is, you're already past where I'm at, and I don't know what to do with you. So you need to find someone else who can help you. And I'm already running into that. So I'm trying to find out that person too. So just shouting that out there as a public service announcement. I'm looking for help. So
there you go. We got 2 classes now. See, we can start having class or Zoom meeting classes. One on the Fae, one on shamanism.
Right? We're just building a side hustle right here.
There we go.
Are you yelling? Are you talking about me, Jamie? Or are you talking about Derek for this one? Because she's like, you're a shaman for sure. She says you're also a projector. So I don't know.
That's both.
I know. That might be both of us right there.
I think it is, actually.
It kind of gives us laughing and hearts. Thanks, Jamie. Way to cover yourself. Oh yeah, see, she did say both. So sounds like Derek and I will need to talk at some point too.
Oh yeah. He's like you. He's besides being the medium, he's an empath. Yeah. So when he's doing it, I don't want to spoil it for if you talk to him, but it's interesting to watch him on an investigation.
Yeah. Stuart, to answer your question, he can, but he has so many side things going on And with his health not being the greatest, I haven't really pushed him for this simply because I want to make sure he's taking care of himself. So he would probably be the perfect mentor for me. There's a person that normally comes on here every once in a while called William Nighthawk. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he is a shaman and just a fantastic person. But I know that he's fighting some stuff on his own personally right now, so I kind of leave him alone and just promote him when I can. But so that's kind of where I'm at right with that right there, Stuart. So, but yeah, I mean, it's been interesting to kind of have this conversation because we kind of talked through a lot of the stuff that you do, and I know I only touched on a handful of them. I know there's more. Jamie's telling me Kim Covert. Yeah, Jamie, we'll talk about that one offline. That's a different one that I actually have coming on my show at some point here in the near future. But so when you, oh, look, there she is. It's Kim Covert. Ta-da. She must have been saying hi to Kim before I saw her pop up there. Hi, Kim. Kim's actually on my show later on, I believe. I'll have to check my calendar, but I know you're coming up. So expect me to start sending you messages saying, send me your bio and your pictures. Just fair warning. When you go out on investigations, do you still do investigations with your husband and everything?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You guys,
we're a part of All Out Paranormal now.
You guys
we're doing a lot of private, not so much events, because we want to go in and, focus on the investigating.
That's really what we do too. When we were doing teamwork, we would basically working. It was just our team that would go to locations. We'd rent out the location for the weekend and just do overnights for a couple of nights and see how that went. When you're there, do you notice that you do a lot of the Reiki kind of on the fly for people who are on your team?
Yeah. Well, when we used to do events, especially on the guests that would come, that weren't prepared for it.
Oh, yeah.
Occasionally, Derek's gotten much better now at shielding and blocking it, but like if he's had a big session or channeled, when he does his channeling, then after, and that's why I wanted to learn the Reiki, is so when he had those moments, I'd be able to help him. Well, it grew into so much more, and now I'm able to help more people, which is so rewarding.
Yeah, it would probably not do you good to have me at the same location as you, because it turns out that I have found out through numerous people that when I'm in a location, my energy ramps up very, very high, and it kind of distracts the other people with their abilities. It gives a lot of them headaches. I'm a little overwhelming, apparently.
Oh, wow.
I've been told that a lot, that my vibration kicks way high and it puts out this huge, almost like a vibration all around the place. And people can't focus when they're too close to me because it kind of overwhelms them. So yeah, that's
a good thing though. It's good to have the high vibration.
It is, but it's the people that are with us that are trying to do the bubbling of the other people. They're like, oh my God, I can't be near you when I'm trying to do this because you're just too overwhelming. I can't focus on what I'm supposed to be doing. And yeah, and Carly's saying she gets headaches a lot when she doesn't during investigations. And I'm learning that comes a lot from the people around you, not necessarily spirit, but it's actually people around you and their energy being pushed out as well. And if you're too close, like I said, mine's kind of overwhelming. And a lot of people say I have headaches and I can tell where it's coming from. So interesting to if anyone ever pays attention to that, where the potential problems are coming from. Is it a spirit that's in the house with you, or is it one of your team members that is just overexerting too much?
Well, if you ever get this way, we can test it, get a location that's big enough, and now you go off over here and we put you on the opposite end and then bring you close and see what happens. Wouldn't it be?
You said you went to Edinburgh. So are you out there in Iowa? Are you out there in that area?
We're actually, Derek and I and Carly or Stacy, we're in Dubuque. So where Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois join right on the map?
Yep.
That's where we're at.
Okay.
How far
Okay.
is that from you?
I'm actually in Omaha, Nebraska, so you're a few hours away from me.
Oh,
It's
see, we just did Villisca back in November. I'm wanting to check out Squirrel
yeah,
Cage Jail, and the other one I really want to get into is the
Malvern Manor.
Stevenson Building.
Oh, have you done the Malvern Manor yet?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, Malvern Manor's good. That's kind of where I
that's
cut my
awesome.
teeth. That's kind of where I cut my teeth. Villisca, Nikki, funny because we live this close to it, but Nikki and I haven't been to Villisca, but we have done the Squirrel Cage recently. I actually did a recording. I was walking around doing a recording in the Squirrel Cage, and twice they shut my recording off. Like they stopped my video. And I realized I was like, oh, I haven't been recording for the last 10 minutes. And I had to start it again. And the Spirit would turn it off again. I'm like, okay, look.
Well, we were at the Squirrel Cage Jail for one, and this was shortly before I found out that Derek was a medium. We're walking through, and he's in front of me. I got my hand because my flashlight died, so I got my finger through his belt loop.
Right.
He's guiding
Yep.
me through. I literally felt someone come up from behind me, like grab my boot. I'm like, what the hell? And I turned around and Derek's like, what are you doing? I'm like, somebody just turns out we were by a rapist's cell.
Oh.
And the guy came out. Well, yeah, Derek saw it. And that's why he's like, yeah, hon, you need to stay out of that one. Let's go. And I didn't know why until like it was a month later, I found out he was a medium.
Yeah.
And that's when he's like, now, do you remember this? And then he was explaining all these, this wasn't, but my hair moving wasn't bugs. The grabbing was the rapist. Yeah.
Right?
Like, oh.
Holy cow. So Nikki is saying that she gets the headaches on investigation too. At first she thought it was because of sleeping on the air mattress, but now she thinks it's more spiritual.
I get them later, not right away. It's usually after. Unless the energy in the location's really intense, then I get them.
Yeah, I don't really get headaches too much because I'm normally the one causing them for people and for spirit. So Carly's saying, let's do it. Wait till it warms up, please. But she wants to do Malvern as well.
Yes,
and
let's do
Jamie
it.
Is like saying, I'd like to do something like this. She gets headaches, but usually from low energy people. Not as bad as she used to. She observes more than absorbs now. So that's good.
How close to Malvern are you, Jamie?
Oh, she's down in Louisiana, so she's a ways. But
we can always do New Orleans sometime.
And Nikki does say that we were in the Squirrel Cage during the day when it was open to the public. But
awesome.
So it was so my recording, you can hear voices in the background. I explain, hey, we're here during the public. That's probably someone talking. But whoever was turning off my phone was not someone standing on my it was not someone that was just pushing the button. And Mo, who was my neighbor across the street, she said she's in on the Malvern. It's only 45 minutes away from us, and we actually happen to know the owner of Malvern Manor too. So that's pretty good. So Josh heard.
He's a nice guy, isn't he, Josh?
Yeah, he's really cool. Yep, he was actually on my show. One of the first shows I did.
Awesome.
The beginning of this year. So Jamie's manifesting more travel. There you go.
Yeah, we're on it, right, Jamie? We'll make it happen.
Right? We'll get that going. Wow. See? Yes, you have to do Malvern when it's warmer because it is cold if you are not sleeping in the heated area. There's one area in that whole place that is heated. Excuse me.
And one room.
It's a hardwood floor. And we had some of our friends that stayed there, and they could hear like stuff walking across the floors when they were trying to sleep on the hardwood floors, even though everyone was laying down. We actually had one of our friends get pulled out of his cot.
Oh, wow.
And pulled onto the floor. And he's not a small person. He's 6'2", maybe 300, a little more. And he got pulled out of his cot and thrown to the floor and woke up screaming. So, yeah.
We were just, like I said, at Villisca back November 12th. And everybody else had gone to sleep except for Stacy. It's Carly on here.
Carly, yep.
But we were the only two awake, and she was in a chair, and holler at me on here, Stacy, if I'm wrong. She was in a chair in the living room. I went and laid on the bed, on the main floor where the room where the two neighbor girls were murdered.
Right.
And so everybody else is upstairs sleeping because that's where the heater was. So it was,
Right.
there was like a little space heater on the main floor, but we were freezing. And we were talking and we said, wait a minute. I think that instead of, we're doing something wrong here. We're asking the neighbor girls permission to lay on their bed. We need to be asking the daughter who's, yeah, it was freezing. So I said, but what was her name for sure? Because I had a brain fart. I couldn't remember her name. So Stacy looks it up and she starts reading the story of what they believe happened for these murders.
Mm.
And I shit you not, you could hear footsteps come from the attic, go over to the parents' bed. And when she says, and the axe made a thud on the ceiling, we heard like a big clunk, like as if an axe would have hit the ceiling.
Right.
And then when we're talking, she's talking about him coming down the stairs, you could hear things on the steps and like come into the room where I was, like as it passed her and came in where I was, it got cold. We still got to listen to the recordings of that night because we had a couple different recorders going. It'd be awesome if we got that on recording.
Yeah, she says, then it got crazy, so we went up and slept there instead.
Yep.
Yeah. Vicky, I agree. Nashville is quite haunted. I actually had to fly in, not to Nashville. I actually had to fly into North Carolina. And I had to fly into one location and then drive about an hour and a half to get to my final destination. And the drive was through all the backwoods. And it was fantastic because there's so many places I wanted to stop just because I can feel the energy coming out from the abandoned buildings, homes, whatever it was I was driving through that I can see that was still back there. I can just feel it. I'm like, man, if I was not driving here for work, this would definitely be like a 3 or 4 day trip for me to just drive around.
Mm-hmm.
So see, now you got everyone making plans. Stuart's saying he wants to ride up, and Jamie's more than welcome to ride. And she's saying, okay, road trip. So
there we go.
We'll have a meeting for everyone coming up at some point. We'll find a middle ground somewhere.
Have you done for our school yet?
I don't know if I have. I don't know if we have. There's one or two that I didn't go to because I was working or something along the lines, but Nikki's gone to a couple of them that I hadn't. Now, I will tell you that there is a location. It's about 5.5 hours, 5 hours away from you and about 5.5 hours away from me, but it's more towards the south. So if they were driving north.
Is it the same one I'm thinking?
I don't know. There's a place that I know of that's called the Haunted Castle House. I don't know if
that place is phenomenal.
See, I have never been there, and we had reservations to go. But our plans fell through, so we couldn't go.
If you decide to do it, I know the Skinners personally. We can.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were going to give us a great deal to stay for the entire weekend, and
they are phenomenal people. They're great. There's the Haunted Castle House in Brumley, Missouri, and Alton Mineral Springs Hotel.
Oh yeah, that's the other one I want to do too. Yeah. Vicky's saying every time she hits the Appalachians, energy field. Yes, that's very true. For some reason, it seems like when I'm out in nature, I pick up a lot, and it's not just the elementals that are driving me nuts, but I pick up a lot of different energies for past things that have happened. And Jamie's saying she loves those kinds of places where you can actually stop and listen to the spirit when it hits you. Yes, I agree. And Vicky is saying she went to the Villisca on the 100-year anniversary Halloween night. It was very haunted. So that's good. Nikki is saying we have not gone for our school. So
that's a good one too.
Yeah, we actually had, I believe it was our team went, but we couldn't go for some reason. And I think they got some pretty good stuff from there.
We had a couple good, we just had an event there this last July that I was at, and Stacy and we planned it out ahead of time. We put all the desks in a circle, and we had the guests come in, join hands, and it was in that Miss Martin's classroom. We had brought an apple and things. Okay, if you make this piece of equipment light off, Susie over here is going to put the apple on your desk. Oh, and then it was as if, because the guy who took the apple off of her desk because she stopped responding, he's like, oh man, I'm getting cold, and make this light up if you want him to go stand in the corner for taking the apple off your desk. And she'd light everything up, and we also did a neat one there. Now, I don't know if you're a fan of the Estes method or not.
Yes, we did the Estes method. Yep.
I had gone a week prior to some friends of ours that were going. So on a desk in Miss Martin's room, I took some blue duct tape and I taped a note underneath the desk that said, hi to them. And I told them that I hid something. See if you can use Estes to find it. Because we've done things like Easter egg hunts before, using necrophonics and things. They went into a session, an Estes session, and got guided to where this was. And sure enough, they sent me a picture and said, we found it. Because, they never would have thought. She was getting told, desk, the classroom, which classroom to go to. And they just kept moving until they got it. And she said, all of a sudden, right before, when they were in her room, she had a vision of exactly what it was and where it was, walked over to the desk and found it.
Very cool. Yeah, we do the Estes quite a lot when we were investigating with the team, but I have never done the Estes myself. I've never put the headphones on and been blindfolded and listened to what came through. And that's something that I'm going to do at some point. But in the meantime, and this is me. This is just how I'm built. I know it, but I have not done that part yet because I always feel like I need to be readily available to be a protector and a guard. So I don't like taking myself into that location to where I don't have all my senses to protect others. It's just the way I am. It's funny because my wife will even tell you that's why I don't sleep at night. Is because while she's sleeping, I want to make sure she's safe, so I don't sleep. And then when she gets up, I could go right to sleep because she's up. So I sleep about 3 to 4 hours a night, very light. But when she gets up in the morning, and if I'm still in bed, I can crash right out because she's up now because I don't have to do the protection things anymore. So it's interesting how that sense seems to kick on even when we go on investigations. I feel like I got to be the protector, so that's why I don't do the Estes myself. And Jamie's saying she's never done that part either.
See, group investigation.
Yeah, and then
we need to do it.
Yeah, Nikki did it, but it wasn't a good location. There was too much residual. There was a lot of talking all over the place, and it couldn't focus on the questions we were asking. It seemed like they were talking back and forth with each other, and it was a lot of residual type older stuff.
Okay.
And nothing that we were tied to at that point in time right there.
The first time I'd ever seen it done, I don't know if you've heard of it, the Grand Opera House here in Dubuque. It was the first theater across the Mississippi, all of that. And we was coming to the end of the night, and we had someone up on the stage, with the headphones on. And it was, the people that were sitting in, like, I don't want to say the audience, but we'll call it that, like the theater seating.
Yep.
And there is a balcony there. And it was, is there anybody here with us? I am. Well, who are you? Colin. Where are you at? Look up. Are you in the balcony? Hi, I see you. And it was like a full on answering the questions. Whoever asked the question, and there's no way, because the person with the headphones was like I said, way, the back end of the stage. Right. There was no way they were hearing anything with the headphones on. Yeah. So it was, that was that's another cool location.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm being yelled at. As you can see, my wife is telling me to stop protecting her. Just so, and she knows, but it's not me doing it purposefully anymore. It's just the way I'm built. It's so subconscious to me that I do this, that my protection mode is kicked in. It's always on. It doesn't matter.
No.
And still we're saying the same thing. It's not our personalities. He's like me, I know. So it's just the way it is. But it's interesting that you're talking about the Estes like that, because we've had some that have been very good. But then we've had some that just way off. And you're just like, well, wait a minute. What? How come sometimes it works and how come sometimes it doesn't? And there's been there was one location we went to where the Estes was going on, and we had two people that were doing the Estes at the same time. And the conversation they were having back and forth, even though they couldn't hear each other, was almost like the two spirits that were there, or multiple spirits that were there, talking to each other and didn't even care we were there. Or one would give us an answer and one would say, stop talking. They don't need to know this. Or, and it was like,
I had something similar to that once. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very odd to sit there and listen, kind of sit back and just listen to a conversation that I had nothing to do with. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and it was ours was very similar to yours. It was Derek was actually in on it. When he goes in, he ends up getting it and almost channeling at the same time. So it's I love watching him do it.
Yeah.
But then the other one, it was like he was saying, I was murdered. And well, okay, when were you murdered? And it was January 14th, 1952. And it was like they were
like they were talking in stereo.
Yeah, it was crazy to see it. And then all of a sudden, you hurt me. Don't tell her.
Yeah.
You stabbed me. I said, shut up. And it was, yeah.
Yeah. We had a handful of them. It seemed like the younger kids were trying to tell us that there was something there that was holding them there. And the older kids were like, you're not supposed to talk about this. And then another entity came in and it didn't talk. It just, you felt the presence change and you felt the air change and everything went silent. So whoever it was or whatever it was that was attempting to keep them there came in and silenced everything. So and that's hard for me because I don't believe anyone should be silenced. So I'm like I'm sitting there arguing with this thing. I'm like, look, if they want to go, they can leave and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm just, I do not antagonize, but I am also very much an alpha male when I'm in situations. So I don't like other spirits being bullied by other spirits. So and I just kind of speak my mind, and every once in a while they let me know that they heard me, but I still think they can't do anything to me. So I just keep doing it because I'm too dumb to know any better. So
but if it works, you're still being respectful. So why not?
I am respectful. I am just also a little forceful when I think that they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
So, but wow, I told you it was going to happen fast. We've gone an hour, 20 minutes.
Holy cow, it did. That did go fast. It doesn't seem like it.
And that's Jamie's saying, let's take care of that, Tom. Oh, because she's Nikki has a couple of comments up here. I want to kind of share this with you. She has another friend. So Nikki's very new to this too. She just started realizing she's an empath and everything else, but at the same time I was coming into my abilities. Okay. She says that everyone also thought into the paranormal investigations that it was her first time, that she was going to be weak because she's so emotional. She's emotional because she's such an empath that she can feel when they hurt or when they're sad or whatever else. Yeah. So we found out through many times of working that she's not a weak person. She's just emotional. And that's what Stuart is saying. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means that you care. Yeah. So, and then she says, I'm an empath, so I feel so deeply. She does. But she's barely been emotional investigations. And it's funny because what she says here, she doesn't think she's a spiritual empath. She's a living empath, which is a very true statement. She really feels, everyone on here who knows her knows that she is a high school math teacher, and she comes home drained from dealing with the kids.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, she gets all of their energy or feels everything. Oh.
And right now she's getting hammered because it's finals time. So she's dealing with all of them and going finals and everything else. But she has grids set up in her room and everything else and stuff like that. So she's working on it. But Jamie's yelling at me now too, saying she's never going to learn how to observe if y'all keep bubbling her. So I don't bubble her. I don't. That is not what I do. I do not bubble Nikki. I do not put a shield around Nikki. I don't do anything. I am just a standby guard if anything happens. Is really how I feel. I'm not one who's ever bubbled her. I have never put a protection shield. I've never done any of that stuff to her. I'm not that person on investigations that bubbles those around me, but I take my fight straight to the person or to the thing that's doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. And I try to push that back rather than try to protect the others, because I think that's what I'm better built for, is pushing it back rather than worried about what the others are doing right now. But we have found out that Nikki is the one who, not only is she strong, but she's also the one who has to keep us in line. It's kind of like herding cats. And because all the investigators on my old team are like the cats, and she's the one trying to herd us all, keep us in line.
I love it.
So she had so much work to do that that she didn't have time to really be weak or afraid of anything, because she had to take care of the rest of us. Because some of us, even though we say, hey, make sure you don't go out together, we would go wander off on our own. So yep. Yeah, she says she's a stabilizer. So that's a good way to put it. She's a stabilizer. And for the school, she says, yes, too much of their energy. Yes. But
that would be interesting to take her to Farrar.
Yeah.
Being the teacher. I would love to put her in Miss Martin's room and be like, yeah, Miss Martin, you get moved down to the small classroom. We got Nicole here. She's going to be, right. Mrs. Springer's going to be the teacher in this room now.
And it's funny because she just got moved to math department head in the school she's teaching at now. So she just took over the larger classroom just this year. So
God, I can just think of all these different experiments that would be so I'm terrible that way. I since I don't have the gifts of seeing them, I'm coming up with all these, let's try this experiment. Hey, Stacy, do you think this would work? And then we tweak it and we come up with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't say I'm Jamie, I would really like to, I got to ask Jamie, I really want to know what you mean by a projector. What am I a projector of? I just don't know what a projector is. So that's what I'm going to ask. But I'm trying to remember. I was going to say something beforehand, but I lost it because I saw this whole projector thing. So it took me off my train of thought. We'll come back to it if I ever get back on that track. But that train made just derailed.
School teacher.
Right. I know. I remember that, but I don't remember what I was going with that. Oh. So like I said, that train completely derailed. That was such a squirrel moment right there. Oh my goodness. So, I project energy when it's needed. Yes. I agree with that statement. We were at a location, Jamie, where we had something that was trying to come out and try to attack a couple of our folks. And me being who I am, I actually cornered it, and I would not let it out of where it was at in a corner, and it couldn't get by me. It tried. It did its damnedest to try to come at me and try to push its way through me. And I just kind of put up my little shield I had and trapped it in the corner, and it couldn't go anywhere. And it was just trapped there for a second while I made sure the room was cleared. And once the room cleared, I went ahead and let it out, and I challenged it. And because I'm dumb like that, and I was like, well, you wanted to pick on them, and you can pick on me. I'm right here. And it backed out. It backed away. We saw it kind of disappear through the room and just kind of back away and didn't want to take that challenge. So, like I said, I'm too dumb to know any better.
That keeps it exciting, though, doesn't it?
One of these times, I'm going to get called out on it. So we'll see how that goes. But I covered everything that I wanted to cover, and I'm selfish. So unless anyone else wants to know anything else, you need to start typing. Otherwise, I am going to let Kandi go to bed because it's later. Oh, and I was going to let you know also that where you're talking about where you're at, I actually lived up in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. I don't know if you know where that is.
Okay, yeah.
But I lived up in Rice Lake, Wisconsin for about 4 years, out on a dairy
Okay.
farm out in the middle of nowhere. And it was absolutely fantastic. I love living out in areas like that. So Jamie is saying, they don't come at me. Not sure what they see, but they seem to back off. Probably they see Archangel Michael. True.
Yeah.
When I'm in locations, or one of the things I see when I explained to you earlier that I can astral travel. One of the big things when I astral travel is I always see big arcs of blue light, and it literally looks like someone's taking a sword and cutting through the night sky and leaving a blue streak in the sky. That's what it looks like to me when I astral travel a lot. So I think that's also a tie to Archangel Michael, showing me that he is with me when I astral travel and protects me. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. So, well, we've gone almost an hour and a half. I told you this would not be an hour show.
No, hey, that's okay. It's been fun.
Yeah, we always fly
Like
by.
now I'm like wanting to go plan something.
Right? And now we're going to have to plan something because we know that we're at least close enough that we can get together and actually plan stuff out.
That'd be awesome.
So, yeah. So we can
Malvern,
do that.
or if Jamie can make it, then we go a little more south. Yeah, Castle House.
Yeah.
You guys would love it.
Yeah.
That place has like they did ground penetrating radar stuff.
Yep.
And found in the back. So you got the Castle House here, and if you
Right.
go down into the back, there's 2 cemeteries.
Right.
You go back a little further, that's where the Civil War camp was. That place, oh my
I didn't
God,
know
you
about
can
that
hear
one.
like cannon and drum. Yeah, it's intense there.
I didn't know about that part. That
There's
wasn't
a
in
portal in the closet.
That wasn't in the description. Oh, portals don't like me. Portals do not like me. We came across the portal once, and I went to put my hand on it because I'm just that dumb, but I wanted to see what it did, and it repelled my hand like when 2 magnets reflect. It would not let me touch the portal. It kept pushing my hand away. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. See, there we go. Put you in the portal.
Yeah, and I open up door. Someone goes, "Hey, don't open that door because there's a portal there," and I open it up and go, "Where?" And I walk into it.
I love it.
That's me.
That's the type of thing I do.
That's me.
Don't try it. Don't tell me don't try it, because then I'm dumb enough to try it to see what happens.
Right? And that's me in a nutshell. I'm like I tell people, I'm too dumb to know any better. So I want to see what happens. And I'm normally the first one that goes in and kicks the door and then go, "Hey, what's going on here?" And everyone kind of follows me sheepishly going, "What did you do?" I'm like, it's fine. So we have a lot of people saying thank you and good night. So I'm going to kind of bring these up. Thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow night on your show. Jamie saying good night. Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for all your help and your comments. Appreciate it. Jamie has already said that she's already out there and has tagged you to be friends on Facebook, just so you know.
Awesome.
She posted earlier out there. Stuart, glad you're here, brother. I'm glad you were able to see the show and you didn't buffer out completely, so that's good. Carly, Stacy, I don't know what to call you now. Now I'm all confused. Thank you so much. Hopefully you'll keep coming back and visiting the show. But now Jamie's saying that she wasn't going to do it, but she totally is now. So, and then, yep. So we'll see you tomorrow, exactly like I said. So folks, once again, I have posted Kandi's information out there on Facebook. So if you want to go out and get in touch with her, she can do a lot of remote Reiki stuff with you. Mm-hmm. And all you got to do is reach out, ask her, set up times, do whatever. And if you go back and read the bio I wrote out, you can see she does a whole lot of stuff. So it's probably really cool to be able to go out and do that. But make sure you guys go out and check her out, follow her, like her, do all that wonderful stuff, be friends with her like I am, because she's such a cool person. And then in a while, I'm going to be reaching out to Derek, her husband, and see if maybe we should talk, and maybe he'll be a guest on my show too. So we'll see if this comes full circle. But in the meantime, have a great night for everybody. But thank you for coming on, Kandi.
Oh, thank you, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff.
And you were, I don't know if you saw that in the write-up, but you were on my last show of 2022.
I did. I was excited. I'm going, yay.
Yeah, you're my last show. I'm not doing a show next Monday because it's right after Christmas, and I'm going to spend time with family and everything else. So my next show is going to be January 2nd. So you were the one to end 2022 with. It was fantastic.
We went out with a bang, right?
That's right. That's right. So good night to you. Thank you again for being on my show. And you know I will be talking to you shortly. Other than that, I'm going to close the show out. So I will talk to you in a little bit. And I'm going to say good night to everybody.
Okay.
So, all right. See you in a bit.
Yep.
All right, everyone. That's my show. Thank you very much for being on here. As I stated, this was the last show of 2022. Thank you for being here. I think I've been doing this now for a year, doing my talk show. And we're still going. So I'm happy you guys are still here with me. And hopefully we will continue to grow this show, and we'll get more people who will come out and visit us and partake in these conversations. I love you guys to death. You all know that. You're like family. You basically are family. And I'm really happy you're here. For those of you that are new, I hope you continue to come back and come onto the show, ask questions. If you actually want to be a guest on the show, let's chat. I'm willing to talk to you guys about that as well. And let's see what happens next. Like I said, the 26th, I do not have a show, so I hope everyone has a great Christmas and New Year. I will be back January 2nd with someone named Jody Jorgensen. You guys are going to love her. Oh, my God, what a spitfire. She is one of the two people who believe that I am a drop-in or a walk-in, however you want to call it. But this show to me is more than just me talking. I learned so much from you folks, as much as you people learn from my guests. I'm learning from everybody in the audience. That's what the show is designed for, is to help everyone kind of learn anything new they want to learn, ask questions about what they want to ask. You know how to get a hold of me. If you don't, let me throw that up there for you really quick so you know how to get a hold of me. Here's all my stuff right here. Facebook.com/stuff I never learned from a schoolbook. I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/stuff I never learned, and YouTube at youtube.com/@stuff I never learned. So you can reach me out there. If you want to send me an email, it is stuffineverlearned@gmail.com. If you have questions you want me to ask online because you missed the show, I can do that. If you want to ask for my help personally, you are more than welcome to do that. If you have questions for anybody in the audience and you're interested in getting more information from them, like Jamie and her Faye experiences, or with Kandi, and you kind of miss out on the fact earlier I had her information up there, reach out to me and ask for her information. I'll give you anything you guys want that I legally can. But other than that, have a great night. Thank you so much. I love you all. And I will see you in 2 weeks. So have a great Christmas and a Happy New Year.